Okay. Hey everybody. I'm gonna try something slightly different. I'm feeling a little bit better after I believe it was a head cold. I took so much medicine and I was virtually like not even here for the past 2 days. And even at that I still, took care of my responsibilities, chores and what have you, errands and everything else. So I was looking at a video that my friend, we call him WSD, is the initials of his name. It just happens to just ring well. And he has a YouTube channel. His link's on the bottom if you want to check it out. And the video that I just saw was double standards for parents. Was it that? Double Standard Rant Part 5. It was about parents. The idea that not just parents. Alright, let me see if I can try to sum it up what I understood from the video. You need to have a test to hold a gun. You have to have a test to drive a car. You have to have a test to deal with anything that involves children, be it school, be it driving a bus for students or children. Even driving a public bus, I believe you have to take like an examination, pass background checks, and you have to qualify underneath parameters to say, okay, well, you are safe for the public and you are responsible enough to handle this responsibility. And he was saying, and actually his video started off with it was a popular video back maybe a few years ago, of a African American woman who had 15 children, 10 of which were fathered by this man who just went to jail, and she was asking for help. Now, I understand asking for help, but there's a statement that she made that I believe that kind of set everything off. She's like, somebody has to pay for these kids, and I'm like, I know WSD. The reason he made this video was because of that comment, and when I heard that comment, I'm like, wait, what do you mean somebody got to pay for these kids? Because the father is in jail, which is not then. I have to say, level equality level, he did something that put him into jail. He was surrounding himself with people. He was doing something. There was something that he did that put him into jail. So that's something he did. She agreed to have multiple children, like 15. That's freaking amazing. That blows my mind. She has 15 children, 10 of which are his. He's in jail. I don't know what he did to make money. Apparently, he was able to make enough to support the 15 kids and him and her. So, how is it anybody else's responsibility to take care of your children? It's not. I was going to say a lot more, but I'm trying to be as politically correct about this. Not because I'm worried about being politically correct, but it's about delivering the right message. You can't just say, oh, do right, and it's like, okay, well, that's such a vague thing, we're just going to do whatever. Or if you say the wrong thing, like, oh, I thought that you meant, well, it doesn't matter. If you choose your words wrong, people will run with the wrong words, and then they're going to be like, well, that dude said it, like, well, I meant, well, it doesn't matter what you meant, it matters what you said. And I've been trying to say this to multiple people, and they're like, oh, da, 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 da. And most of them, I'm not going to get into a separate rant about that. But what I do want to, I kind of want to respond to his video because I share his anger, because I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. He is a bus driver. He transports children. There was a situation where a child needed to be disciplined, and he wanted to go to the parents about it, and that makes sense. If you happen to see your child, like, oh, they're acting up, let me go to the parents, because that's the nice thing to do. Yeah, I could have whooped their ass, but I don't know the background. I don't know what they've been through. I don't know if they're acting out because they're autistic. I don't know if they're acting out because their dad beats them. I don't know if they're acting out because their brothers and sisters harass them. Let me go to the parents and be like, hey, your kid's acting up. Maybe there's something we can do. Maybe you can educate me on why. Tell me what's going on. But when he went to the parents, they're just kind of like, well, you must have done something to make her upset. And it's like, what? And the rant that he made, the double standards, the idea of, oh, it shouldn't be anybody else's job to take care of the foundation of your children. WSD, my friend, he wasn't trying to take care of their job for them. he assumed that they were doing something. He assumed that they were being parents, because there was no test for that. We just assumed parents were going to, like, do right. And it's not the case. And it's the saddest thing in the world, because he's trying to help out. He's assuming, okay, well, let me go to the parents and they'll actually be parents. They'll try to parent their child. Their child. They'll be like, hey, Jane, random girl named Jane, stop acting up on the bus. Stop beating up people. Stop cussing names. Stop peeing. Stop whatever it is you're doing that causing trouble. Stop doing it, because that's not how people should be acting. I don't believe in restraining free thought, but I do. I personally promote and practice the idea of control, not as in like, control free, power hungry, that kind of thing. I'm not trying to promote that. What I'm trying to say is that if you have something to say it normally. Say it like a regular person. Say it like, oh, there's something wrong, let me go talk to people about it. If you think something's wrong, you don't go spray paint on the side of the building, take your clothes on, like, hey man, look at me, there's something happening over here. And then say, like, as much of attention, that brings more bad attention than anything else. Bad attention means someone has to pay attention, someone has to do something. Non-attention is not what you want them to do. So if she's acting up, there's something that's going on, and WSD was like, hey, let me actually bring this to the attention of the parents so that they can actually be parents. But like the woman in the video is like, somebody else has to take care of this because it's somebody else's fault. Somebody else did this. And I talked for about 5 minutes about somebody else. Let me talk about me. When I had Xavier, he was part of an early schooling program, let's say. That's not the name of it, but I'm trying to, not be so specific about things. But when he would have a teacher come over to the house. I knew the teacher by name. When the teacher came over, I interacted with all the teacher, my son, and even like the supervisor whenever the supervisor would come over. I was an active part of his development. Now, his mom was at work, and I understand that. I couldn't find work because of the area that I was in, but I still knew that just because I didn't have work, I had a job to be a father, to be there, to listen, and to be part of that development, of that growth. Granted, I only had to deal with one, and I understand the difficulty of that. Like, the difficulty of that by itself, but when you add more children, let's say you had 2 to 3 children, or 4 or 5, definitely 15 is definitely a handful, but the thing is that this woman didn't have these children thrusted upon her. She created them. All 15 of them. All 15 of them, hers. She took that responsibility, and like WSD was saying in his video, there needs to be some kind of test, or like there needs to be something to help parents or people who have children understand this is what, even when you foster children, you have to go through classification, you have to go through clearances, you have to take exams and tests, pay money, you have to make an effort to show, oh, I want this, I'm ready for this, and let's do this. When parents separate, one parent already has the child, the other parent has to prove that they're able to handle that kind of responsibility for whatever reason. So, like, what I'm trying to say is, I understand his frustration. The idea that there are parents out there just like, yeah, sure, kids just run around and do whatever. As a matter of fact, this man who's very close to me said that his father would tell him, you can't control your children. All you can do is be there when they mess up, help them brush the dirt off their knees, and tell them, hey, that sucked, get back on it. And as much good as that is bare-boned, to build upon that, I was the kind of father, at least in my eyes, that I like to be involved. I knew his favorite TV show. I knew the favorite toys that he liked to eat. I knew the favorite toys he liked to play with. I knew the foods he liked to eat. And I was working on making him better. And with Jasmine being at work, whenever she came back, I'm like, hey, this is what we did today. When his teachers came over. And sometimes she'd be like, okay, well, let's try to work on this. Matter of fact, during 2014, towards the end of everything that was happening, she was like, well, we need to focus more on his reading ability and his communication. And I'm like, well, I can work on the reading ability, and because he's my son, I'm going to work on the communication. So we ended up going to a school function for his, for early start, that's what it was called. And there were other kids and there were other parents, and I felt so outside because public environments is not something that I'm comfortable with. I'm usually good at. But he was there, and I was like always focused on him. Like, okay, what is he doing? Okay, why is he doing that? Okay, I'm looking. I'm not looking because I want to control. I'm looking because I want to understand. I'm looking because I want to. So if something were to happen, because if I turn my back and I look like, where's my son? That's me. If I were to turn my back and I turn around and he's beating the child, beating a child, and I'm like, I want that toy. I have to think, okay, well, where was I when this happened? Because I just turned around and things happened. When you're a parent, you have to give that kind of attention. And I noticed when I was with my brother Danny, when we lived in, I'm not gonna say any government housing, let's say that, he would always point out, well, that parent, is separate from that parent, and they just let the kids run around. And I understand letting your kids have freedom, but you can't just not be parent. You can't, and being a parent doesn't mean like, oh, well, you got a roof over your head, clothes on your back, and food on your plate. It's the interaction, is the connection, is the idea that, hey, I know you, you know me, and we work on this thing called life together. Because that's the idea of family. And that's what I wanted to develop with my son. That's what I wanted to grow with him. I wanted him to not even be in the situation that he's in right now, where his mom is over here and I'm over here, and this worst thing that he's gonna like kind of in a way bounce back and forth between us. I hate that. And I even told his mother that's the one thing I never want our son to go through, because he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to go through that. I wish. And I hear this all the time from other people who tell me, oh, Nick, you do so far, what was the phrase? Far and beyond what other fathers claim that they're doing. There's other fathers who like, yeah, I just want to see my son. Oh, what have you done? Well, I work. Do you live anywhere? Yeah, I live with my parents. Do you have a car? No, I drive their car. Why do you think that you should see your son? Have you done anything to make your life better for your son? I work, sir. Well, like, what more do you want from me? It's like, well, but when people see what I do, when people see the amount of extra work that I put myself through to make sure that I am ready, because there was no test about being a parent. When Jasmine told me that he existed, I was like, I'm ready, because it wasn't the idea that I knew I was ready at that moment. It was the mentality that I was gonna be ready. I was gonna do what needed to be done, not at just the crucial moments, but whatever. Whenever we found out that he was even in existence, I read books. I try to educate myself. I try to learn things. I try to be prepared. Now there's some parents like, yeah, whatever. I know a couple moms right now who are kind of single, and their baby daddy is kind of like, yeah, I have a, she's pregnant. Not even like I have a son coming up or I have a daughter coming up. It's like, oh yeah, she's pregnant. It's like, how are you not excited about a mini you that will grow to be something amazing in the future? This idea that, oh, I'm a parent that doesn't have to parent, that is ridiculous shit. But I know I can't change other people. I know that. This video is not necessarily for other people to look at and be like, oh yeah, he has a point. This video is for me. This video is for me, so that when I look back on it, I'm like, that was my point of view. Or even if any of my brothers or anybody who cares looks at it like, oh, that's a point of view that really should be shared. That's something that should be carried on and moved forward with. Because when you're a parent, that's a responsibility. That's life. That's a child that is in your care, that's going to carry on to the future. This child is going to, in some way, shape, or form, define the future of the world. And how they define that future is on them. It is. But how you raise them is on you. You raise them to do whatever, and they do whatever, you weren't doing your job. You're doing life wrong. You're doing parenting wrong. But if you're able to walk with them, know their struggles, understand their struggles, and they know that you understand them. Even my little sister, Nakoma, Mom sometimes goes, oh, you and your personal issues. She worries that they're going to get in the way, but I help Nakoma out as much as I can. I'm not only in my ear, but if she needs help with homework, I'm there. She needs an ear to talk into, I'm there. She needs a shoulder to cry on, I'm there. If she needs somebody to discipline her, you know what I do? I go to her mother and say, hey, she did this. Something needs to be done. That's how things work, And sometimes when this happens, I'm like, hey, I'm going to suggest this. This is my suggestion. Take it or leave it. This is what I think. And if it's too much for you to do, let's split the jobs in half, because I am part of this, because I live in the household. You know, I'm her bigger brother. I am part of her development, so I'm going to help raise her. I'm going to try to help, at least have an influence on my other brothers, Tyler, CJ, and even Bobby, because in a household, it's a unit, and you all grow because you are the average of the company you keep. So if you're bad, other people are going to get that. If you're good, other people are going to get that. If you're helpful, that will shine. If you're a good parent, that's going to be shown. And now, if people question your ability to parent, guess what? That doesn't mean, oh, you go to a corner to cry. Nor does it mean that you have to curse everybody out. That means you have to reevaluate what you're doing. And then ask yourself, am I really putting my 24 hours a day in? Because out of what? 24 hours, 8 hours to work, 8 hours to sleep, and that's the max. I don't know a soul that sleeps 8 hours. Unless, you know, talking about my brother. He sleeps like 12. But like, that's 8 hours of still other things. 8 hours of other things. Like, alright, 2 hours away for transporting to and from work. That's still 6 hours. 6 hours for what? Alright, let's take an hour or two away from eating, using the bathroom, personal hygiene, showering, that whole thing. So 6 minus 1 hour, 5. 4 hours. 4 hours for you to dedicate to your children, to your loved ones, to anybody that matters. That's really where life should be. And if you're not doing that, if you're going, somebody else's job is to take care of these people that are my responsibility, you're doing life wrong. That's my rant. I didn't mean for it to be like over 15 minutes, but that's where it is. So I apologize for that. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, and you know, listen to what I'm saying. If you're a parent and you think that you've done enough, you haven't. I'm not saying that because you haven't. I'm saying that if you're thinking that you haven't, then you haven't. If you're thinking maybe I should be doing more, that means you should be doing more, because that thought means that, oh, you have the capacity to do more. You acknowledge that you can. All you need to do is figure out what and how. Alright? So good night, everyone. Well, good day. Still the middle of the day. And I still have things to do. God. So sick. But I'll talk to you guys later, okay? Peace.